breath of fresh air. Hello everyone, Armadillo the Violet Wizard here, and today we're continuing Sonic Mania. One of my all-time favorite games ever, but I've said that plenty of times already. We're continuing our Knuckles run of this game. Last time we played this game, we made quite a bit of progress in our adventure. Managed to get all the Chaos Emeralds, which is just very good, especially with the character that we're playing as, and we managed to make our way to Hydra City, which I consider about the halfway point of the game. Still quite a ways for us to go, but ow. That was pretty bad. But yeah, we still got quite a lot of this adventure ahead of us with our favorite Red Echidna. Just come up here. This. It's like, this level is actually much harder with Knuckles than it is with Sonic. Because of Knuckles' obviously gimped jumping height, it can be a bit tricky in order to do some things here. Especially when it comes to grabbing oxygen. Hopefully that gives us a bubble. Very good. But yeah, it's quite interesting getting to be playing this game again after quite a substantial break. Obviously, I've been doing Pokemon Emerald mostly these days, but diving into some Sonic whenever I can, just because it's a good time for me whenever I find myself playing this adventure. Okay. Knuckles, can you not? I swear I always have trouble with blue spheres. So yeah, what is going on today? This is the last day before Christmas Eve, and oh boy, is that gonna be a day. So I obviously work in the retail section of things with my store, and yeah, the things have definitely been busy in the last couple of weeks for me. Okay, that was not so good. I don't even bother with the rest of the blue sphere challenges, because it's really not neat at this point in the adventure. Would like to show more of the rewards you get by doing them, but it's really not all that necessary for the overall adventure. Plus, it's mainly things that we've already experienced in the game, so be kind of redundant in that sense. Knuckles just that. But yeah, I'm very happy to be starting off in this area, because I said before, Hydra City is one of my favorite Sonic areas. It just has fantastic music, I just love the aesthetic of this area, and it has some very neat mechanics behind it. It's not always a level I can be very happy to return to. And of course, the Sonic series is also something I like to return to, but usually in small doses. Actually, we have more than enough rings for this. Let's be Super Knuckles. If we weren't already powerful enough, just, yeah. This speed, this power we get, it is great. More than justifies getting the Chaos Emeralds in this game. It's such a good reward. Knuckles, what are you doing? Let's look at that. All these hazards just completely reduced to nothing for us. Yeah, I would call it cheap, but it's something that the game gives you as a reward for playing the game well. So, yeah, I really don't consider it that cheap. It's just a very useful power-up whenever you get it. Hey, Eggman, I see you up there. Jerk. Let's rise up here. Wow, Knuckles, really? Yeah. What is your damage, buddy? Get up there. Good. I remember remember this part from last time. Eggman's gonna set up us the bomb, and we're gonna have to get out of here. Oof, we're almost out of rings. That's actually kind of scary. Why were we not able to grab that bubble there? It's very weird. Knuckles, could you please go, buddy? Move it, move it. There we go. And right on to the next boss already. Be careful here not to suck up those bombs before healing Eggman. Why am I having so much trouble with this here? Come on, suck up the fat man. There we go. Oh boy. There we go. I don't know why I'm having so much trouble with this boss. It's really not all that tough. Very cool concept being able to turn one of Eggman's machines against him. And there we go. Fight's already done. Woo! Yeah, how have things been lately? Besides work, I've just been kind of taking it easy today on my day off. Especially with regards to what's coming up in the holidays. Oh boy. It's got a lot of work tomorrow, and then the day after that, Christmas is gonna be interesting. We'll be on a Zoom call with my relatives. It'll be good to see them in some capacity, considering everything that's been going on lately. Yeah, that's just kind of what things have been like over in my part, for the most part, and yeah, just mainly taking it easy before things get cray-cray, especially with the new year. Which, speaking of, so with the new year coming in and all, there's been some things that I've been meaning to discuss involving that, especially with regards to this channel. Of course, I really like streaming. It's a very fun activity that just gets me to not only distract me from a lot of things, gives me a chance to also share my experiences with other people, and just, you know, kind of put my thoughts and opinions out there in other format besides what I usually do with my art and the stuff I share on Twitter. But yeah, so obviously I want to make a lot more improvements to this channel in the future, and with a new year coming up, I feel like it is a pretty good opportunity for some evolution, shall we say, for this channel. There's definitely some things I want to try out. I definitely want to improve a lot of my systems that I have going forward, and namely one of the things I'm really looking forward to is that I want to get a proper microphone. Like, if you can obviously hear from this, my current mic on my headset really isn't the best, and I would definitely like to expand to something much more substantial, which we'll see how things go. Definitely have a lot of options I can go for, and I'm sure there's a store very close by that would be able to offer me the things I need. So that's definitely a goal of mine in the new year, to finally get some better microphones to record with. Especially because there's a lot of stuff I want to do, not just on Twitch, but also on YouTube, kind of posting my thoughts about various things, especially with regards to some topics that I feel very strongly about. And just, you know, try to experiment and branch out into other content that I feel would be very applicable, especially in our climate, just where we live in a day and age where pretty much everyone can just voice their opinions, and like hundreds of thousands of people can get to experience what these people are talking about, and just having that kind of influence to just be able to speak and be heard by so many people, even if you haven't met them, is just very crazy. But it's kind of how our world has evolved over the years. Yeah, it'll be a very interesting thing to kind of try out some different formats for content. And of course I want to try to be a bit better about speaking online, because obviously I sound really, really nervous about things, which you can expect. I am very much an introvert, and I do have Asperger's syndrome, so it can be kind of difficult to communicate things, especially in a format like this, but I do want to be better about it. Man, we're just not able to get any of these things. Is it because it's because we are super, isn't it? It would be redundant. Whatever. But yeah, we're dealing with the Act 2 boss of Hydra City now. I haven't really been talking about things in regards to the game I'm actually playing. It's mainly because I've already done a run of this game, just with a different character. Just experiencing the kind of the same routes before, just with a new coat of paint. Which is all perfectly fine. I do really like Knuckles' gameplay. He is definitely distinct enough from Sonic, while also keeping a lot of the things that make Sonic such a fun character to play as, that I don't mind all the big changes. But now moving on to the second phase of this fight, which is definitely easier than last time thanks to our new super form. But we are close to running out of rings now, and I really hope we can beat this guy before then. Just frickin'... Oh, it's bad. There we go. If I can actually get really tense, especially with me being out of rings there. Yep, Hydra City is cleared. One of my favorite areas in the game, but then again, I have a lot of favorite areas. Studiopolis, Flying Batteries, Stardust Speedway. A lot of good areas, and we are definitely going to be diving into more as we progress forward. This seems very familiar. Ah! So yeah, ever wonder what happened to Knuckles during that? So now we get Mirage Saloon Act 1, but this is much different from the Act 1 that we experience in the Sonic and Tails run of the game. Because here we actually have a actual platforming area instead of having to deal with a... Oh, cool. I did not know that. That's good. Yeah, we have an actual area we can platform instead of having to be stuck on the tornado and just kind of... Oh, that was close. And instead of flying around, we are here just kind of progressing through a normal level. It's quite interesting. Like, I can see that there aren't too many changes from... Well, things are kind of distinct from the... Right, Knuckles, if you just... Thank you. Things are a little distinct from the Act 2 that we experienced back in the Sonic playthrough, but this obviously has a lot of new stuff to it, given that we are playing this area in a new format. We never got to see this before because Sonic and Tails don't take this route. And yeah, just very cool seeing these areas that are much more built for Knuckles' moveset. It definitely helps give this area a lot of staying power. It helps it stand out compared to other areas. Right, good. We should be pretty close to the end here. really don't know. I haven't played this area too much. Ooh, but yeah, this is just great. And of course, you got the kind of seesaw things here, which is based on sections of Hilltop Zone in Sonic 2. I do really like Sonic 2. It's definitely a game I want to stream someday. But that'll be for quite a while, because it is definitely harder than in Mania, just in terms of finishing it. Mania really, when it comes down to it, once you get used to all of its controls and stuff, this game is pretty easy. Yeah, being super can be a little annoying here because your things are just a bit too... things can be a bit slippery when you're super, which can be... Alright, buddy, can we actually do this? There we go. Alright, can we not ram ourselves into some spikes and actually... Ow! Jerk. So yeah, we should be pretty close to the exit, I think. Shouldn't be too much farther. Do really like the Mirage Saloon aesthetic. Like, the colors are very nice here. Also did not know about that. And yeah, music's very nice. Definitely not as bombastic as the Area 2 music, but still pretty good. And of course, just nice getting to see another version of this area that we hadn't really gotten to see before because of the change in gameplay style. And yeah, this area very much plays to Knuckles' unique playstyle here. And we even get a version of this boss that is different from in the Sonic Road. So the giant caterpillar here plays very much different. Spain kind of reminds me of the few times they would have a Pokey as a boss in Mario games. Especially in Origami King, because that game had a really cool boss involving a Pokey. I don't really want to replay Origami King. I've kind of been in the mood for it lately, especially with me being obsessed with the soundtrack of that game as of late. Just goddamn, Origami King has such a phenomenal soundtrack. Definitely one of the best aspects of the game. And really, the game already has a lot going for it. I do find it better than some people feel, especially with regards to how a lot of things in the Paper Mario series have been ever since the end of the traditional RPG gameplay. But overall, it's still a very good game. And yeah, it definitely has a lot of good moments, even if it does kind of share a lot of the faults of the more recent games that people really don't like. But overall, I feel like it does things in a very good manner. It definitely helps to fix a lot of the issues that the previous ones had. Okay. Buddy, can you not do that? I mean, what else could be said about this area right now? It's Act 2 Mirage Saloon. It's a good area. I'm just playing along with Nooks. Might as well go super here. There's really no reason not to, especially because it just helps. In terms of other stuff been going on lately, I have definitely been playing a lot of Final Fantasy VII on my downtime, and wow, we're already at the end of this area, and we haven't even gone over 2 minutes. Really goes to show how brief these levels can be if you know what you're doing. Hey there, Knack. Take it out. And return of another boss fight I really like. Just love the idea of fighting these older Sonic characters that really haven't gotten any action in recent years. And seeing them return a boss fight is just really cool. But yeah, I've been playing a lot of Final Fantasy VII again, kind of getting ready for when I inevitably return to streaming it in the new year. I really don't know when I'm going to get into playing it, because there's still some stuff I want to do. Between finishing up my Emerald playthrough and also having a lot of other games that I want to jump into, that'll definitely be a lot easier to deal with than Final Fantasy VII, because... But when I do dive back into streaming it, I know things are going to be very interesting, because I've definitely got a lot of things to talk about when we jump back into it. Like, just recently, today, and a bit of yesterday, I was doing a lot of... One of the things I was explicitly doing was looking for pretty much all of the enemy skills that I could get by the portion of the game that I'm in. I'm not going a whole lot into spoilers, but there's a lot of enemy skills that you can get by the point of the game that I'm in, and especially some that I completely missed when I did my streams before. And yeah, when I get back to streaming the game again, definitely something I want to do is like really go into a lot of the enemy skill materia that I didn't have the chance to really go over. Because yeah, there's a lot of good ones that I could definitely recommend using, and it'll be very cool to get to show them off and just kind of go over some stuff. Especially because one of the areas I went to, I didn't realize until after the fact that this area, not only does it have enemy skill materia, does it have enemy skills you can learn there, but the area is a one and done area where you cannot go back to it after you complete it, which is kind of bad because the materia that the enemy skills you get there are very elusive, and pretty much that point in the game is like the best chance you have of getting those specific enemy skills. And yeah, especially because it's the last place for one particular enemy skill in particular that is pretty darn good, and definitely something I don't want to just glance over. Knuckles, really? Fine, we'll take the other way around. So yeah, I know I've been talking a lot about Final Fantasy here, but yeah, let's talk about something that's actually relevant here, Royal Ocean. What can I say? I do feel like this... Really? I feel like this area definitely gets a bad rap. Understand why a lot of people don't like Royal Ocean. It has a lot of hazards, a lot of things that can just be really irritating. But I don't know, I just really like the aesthetic, the colors, the music of this place. I mean, just listen to that, so good. Like, I'm still really hoping to hear like an Arabic remix of this theme, because it would sound so good with those kind of instrumentals. I don't know, maybe there is one I could look up on YouTube, I don't know. Ow, jerk. I need those rings to go super. Ow. Bitch. Yeah, definitely have a lot of other plans for the future, not just with Final Fantasy. Definitely some other series I'd like to jump back into and start. So obviously, I did start a series playthrough on the Shantae games that I would like to jump back into. As I finished Risky's Revenge like last year, but I haven't touched the other games in that series, which is something I really want to do, because it's Shantae, it's a good series. I definitely want to stand in the middle here, avoid spikes. Hey, buddy, get back here. No. Yeah, that's a pretty easy boss down. Really nothing special there. Guess another thing I talk about as we get started on Oil Ocean Zone Act 2 is very recently I got a new desk set up for me, but one of the things that I was needing to look for that I got taken care of today is I wanted to get a mat for my desk that I could specifically use for drawing. Because obviously I do a lot of traditional art, not just digital, and when my current desk is set up, the surface really isn't made for drawing, so I definitely wanted to get a mat so that I would be able to handle that. And yeah, it's pretty good. Definitely gonna have to practice drawing on it some more, but it's definitely better than the old desk setup I had. So yeah, it'll definitely be a good opportunity for me to get in some art. Which also reminds me there's something I want to do, especially relating to this holiday season, that also involves some art. Don't really need to talk about it right now, but, you know, it's just there. Oh man, I wonder if the smog would actually deplete our rings faster if we're super, or if we're just completely immune to it while we're super. That'd be interesting to figure out. I've never actually known this. Yeah, some of my playthroughs, I'm not super by the time that I get to New Oil Ocean. Just kind of my curse. First time I play this game in a long time, I just am not good at getting the Chaos Emeralds for whatever reason. Luckily, this playthrough has not been like that. I mean, just look at that. Managed to get that ring without even trying. Let's jump down here, even though we really don't need to. I know, I still like the submarine portions of this level. They're pretty compact, but they got specific little challenges to them that you don't really see in the other sections of this zone, and I appreciate it. Let's wrap this up, and we should just be about done here. Alright, let's ignore this submarine, cause we just cut straight to the boss here. Now, I vaguely recall this boss actually being kind of annoying to fight when super, because mainly, yeah, this boss is not always vulnerable for a good portion of this fight. You're just kind of waiting here, and obviously, the ring counter will still go down even while you're dealing with that, so that's a thing to worry about, but it's really not too bad there. Woo! Seriously, with the speed you get from being super, you can just blaze through the bosses so quickly. And no, I'm not just saying that because I have the fire shield. Again, I know why people don't like Oil Ocean, but it's still an area that I like. It's a good area, all things considered. And I definitely like the story progression of this area, how it goes from a normal oil refinery to a damaged oil refinery that is slowly burning up because of the damage you dealt to it. Anyway, back to another fan favorite area, Lava Reef. I know I haven't played this area too much, but yeah, I do really like it. So back into other stuff pertaining to my plans for the future. Definitely a game I've been meaning to jump into eventually for streaming is some of the Legend of Zelda games, namely Majora's Mask, because, oh man, that game. I have a lot to talk about involved in that game. It is one of my personal favorite games of all time, one of my favorite Legend of Zelda games, just a phenomenal adventure that I would really like to get into streaming eventually, because you know, it's definitely a game that would make for some interesting commentary about stuff. especially with a lot of the mechanics behind the game and its story beats. And just for being very unique compared to other Legend of Zelda games. Like, really the only other Zelda games that I think are about as unique as Majora would be Zelda 2, Adventure of Link, and Breath of the Wild. Man, that guy just went down. You get to live, buddy. And yeah, that'll be very interesting to get to play. Even though my method for recording won't be exactly... Oh, sorry, one don't know what was in my throat there. I know what I would like in there, though. Sorry, that's not me speaking. That was my character, Morty. He's fun. I want to draw more art with him. I know what I have drawn quite a bit with him, especially on sites that I am not going to mention. And while I'm streaming on Twitch here, gotta keep things family friendly here. But yeah, definitely excited to draw more of him in the future. Especially with regards to my plans for the new year, there's definitely some art things I want to do. Both with continuing to improve my art style and the fact that Knuckles really doesn't benefit from the secondary effects of the elemental shields really does hurt him in some of these instances. Seriously, the double jump that you get from the lightning shield is so good. And it's a shame that Knuckles misses out on it. But yeah, definitely a lot of things I want to do with my art. There's some characters of mine that I've been wanting to do redesigns for quite a while. And I would like to get started on that in the new year. Arceus knows I've done plenty of that in recent days. There's some artwork of characters that I've been meaning to get started on because I'm still working on a digital piece involving one of my newer characters. I'll be very happy to debut her eventually. She's kind of related to another character of mine in terms of profession and characteristics. Not related in the actual relation sense, you know. Whatever. I know it's kind of a weird topic to be discussing these kind of things while playing Sonic, but hey, some people make Sonic OCs, and while I'm not particularly one of them, it's still interesting to see. Definitely see a lot on my Twitter timeline of late. Especially with one of my friends being a really big Sonic fan. Like, I really can't imagine anyone else in my circle of friends who's more of a Sonic fan than her. Especially with a lot of aspects in the series and certain characters. I mean, I do really like the Sonic series in a lot of aspects, but I am more of a casual Sonic fan, if that makes sense. There's a lot of decisions made by this series I'm not 100% sold on, and there's also the issue with just me not having played a huge chunk of the games that a lot of people consider fan favorites or cult classics. I mean, I have played Sonic Heroes when I was a kid, and I definitely think that game is better than some people give it credit for, although that could be just my nostalgia talking, who knows. Alright, buddy, why don't you hit that one? Plus, interesting. The fact I actually use the environment to take out this guy is a pretty cool mechanic. And with that, we are all done with Lava Reef Act 1. Which I'm excited for, because going on here into Lava Reef Act 2, we're actually going to get into some more content that is exclusive to the Knuckles playthrough. And one of the major reasons why I want to show off Knuckles on stream. We'll get to see that eventually, but for now, let's just enjoy the serene and beautiful atmosphere that is Lava Reef 2. Seriously. seriously, how can anyone get mad in such an area that's just so beautiful and serene with all these beautiful landscapes and with just such beautiful music that get interrupted by this super beam? I don't know if there's an option for turning that off, but I don't know, I do like the super beam. It is quite good in this game. Though it does override the already amazing music in these areas, so kinda have to deal with that. Don't need that checkpoint. Yeah, going into some more sections that are Knuckles exclusive here. Especially with regards to what's coming up in this area. Got this section where you have to climb that vertical shaft, which is quite interesting. They got this section here. Yeah, I'm really not all too familiar with this area, all things considered. Right, I see that switch there. Let's hit that. Should be pretty good for what's ahead. Yeah, I really like that Lava Reef does a lot in the Knuckles playthrough. There's a lot of areas here that we get to experience that Sonic couldn't. All thanks to Knuckles' skill set, and it definitely helps this area stand out. Alright, buddy, can we figure out how to get up? I really hate that you're not immune to crush damage when you're invincible. That's just super annoying. Well. Alright, but... okay, I'm finding a reason to get angry at this area. And we're not even at my least favorite area of the game. Looking at you, Metallic Madness. We'll get to it soon. Yeah, we sadly missed out on getting some... Man, I just really hate it when my momentum gets completely destroyed. Right, by me just losing my invincibility like that. Losing out on just our invincibility, our speed. It's just such an irritating thing to have to deal with. Knuckles, why? Whoa, thank you, platform. Alright, this obviously leading to something. Oh, that's nice. Definitely use those rings there. I could have used those rings too. Now we're fine. Woo, look at that. And let's go Super. Super Smash Brothers. Speaking of which, definitely been meaning to play more Smash Brothers, especially with a certain character getting added to the roster. Seriously, I still cannot believe that Sephiroth is in Smash. It's so insane. Also, I don't think I mentioned this during my Sonic playthrough, but you see that big hole at the top of the cavern? There? That hole in the ceiling was actually made from the remains of the Death Egg back in Sonic and Knuckles. After Sonic caused the Death Egg to crash into the surface of the island after the events of Sonic and the Hedgehog 3. Knux, can we get over here, please? Thank you. And yeah, I just really like the continuity here. Okay, what's the thing that we needed? Okay, I think, yeah, we break through there, and then we head down this way to an area that we could not access with Sonic, I believe. Oh yeah, just look at this. Definitely a lot more mechanical stuff. I hate when I lose my momentum like that. Yeah, we're in an area with a lot more mechanical structures here. Interesting to go through, especially considering what is coming up fairly soon. Luckily there is this extra life here, which definitely not running low on lives here. I don't think I'm going to, like, really get hit hard with some bad luck when it comes to lives in the next areas, even though I could definitely see that still happening, all things considered. No, I don't think things are going to be too bad. Okay, what are we trying to do here? Alright, hang on, I think I know what I'm missing. Right, for one, I'm missing something over here. Alright, I'll leave you to live. The guy kind of reminds me of a Lapras, so... It's one of my favorite Pokemon, so I'll let you live. Speaking of Pokemon, I've definitely been feeling a... Okay, not what I was thinking. This is interesting. I've definitely been feeling an urge to replay some Pokemon games of late, especially with some of the things I've seen. So, in case you don't know, there is a certain content creator on YouTube who does a lot of videos named Jaden Animations. I do really like her content. It's all very good. I think just her general manner of talking, as well as how a lot of the presentation of her vids go, just really leads to some very charming and just really fun adventures that she gets to talk about. And some of the things she discusses is specific challenges that she takes involving Pokemon games. Namely, she has done at least 2 Nuzlocke runs that she has publicly been made aware. One being for Ruby and one for Platinum. And yeah, they were some interesting videos. The Ruby one, which was released like such a long time ago, and still really look back on that as just a very fun vid, even though it does have its sad moments, still very triumphant. She very recently posted a animation involving her Pokemon Platinum playthrough, and oh boy, I don't want to get too much of the spoilers about it, but man, some of the things that happened with it, especially with the way she presents them in her story, just goddamn, she did such a tremendous job crafting the story behind this, and it really leads into some things that I really don't see a lot of people will discuss, especially when it comes to making Pokemon-related content. And overall, just a very fantastic story she was able to craft. Anyway, enough about all that depressing nonsense. Let's go into a very familiar area if you are familiar at all with Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Hello there, Heavy King. I love this artwork. So yeah, we basically got a Sonic and Knuckles callback here, with Knuckles once again fulfilling his role as protector of the Master Emerald. Only this time, our boss here is the Heavy King. We actually get to fight this guy outside of Egg Reverie, but exclusively with Knuckles. This is the only time you actually get to fight this boss in the game, and you can only do it with Knuckles. This is an interesting battle, all things considered. This guy definitely has quite an assortment of powers that set him apart from other bosses before us. He moves around a lot, he's got just quite a couple of moves. He gains power from the Master Emerald, which also makes him very similar to the fight against Mecha Sonic from Sonic and Knuckles. And let me just say that I am a huge fan of Mecha Sonic. Like, I know I said before that Metal Sonic was my jam, but oh boy. just, not only does this guy have a very cool design, not only is his fight really cool and interesting, but goddamn, if you have seen anything from Super Mario Bros. Z, you just know that this guy is crazy. Like, such a fascinating villain with how he's presented and what he was able to do. Just good stuff. Easily one of my favorites. One of the many reasons why I just consider Super Mario Bros. Z such a classic. But anyway, enough about that. Let's just try to focus on not dying in this fight, because Heavy King is tough. And don't attack him while he's powering up. Alright, careful there. Doing relatively... Wait. Want to... Ow. Use the platforms there to protect yourself from that attack. So, kind of going into the lore of this area. So this shrine that houses the Master Emerald, the platforms here are actually not just platforms, but they are the remains of the Super Emeralds, which were a thing introduced in Sonic and Knuckles specifically, especially when you link Sonic, Free, and Knuckles together. And you have to go after not just the Chaos Emeralds, but also the Super Emeralds in order to get the best results in terms of the game's story and ending. And yeah, it's kind of interesting seeing just kind of what happened to these things after that game, because you can see that they have clearly not been doing too well over the years. It's been completely destroyed, had like all the energy sapped out of them. Which is, given how little, like, the Super Emeralds have really been featured in the series, I can get. It's interesting to actually have a justified reason for why they haven't returned at all in the series since then. Oh, gotta be careful here. Oh, come on! Alright, this part is just really awkward trying to dodge that beam, especially with me always getting my rings knocked out of me. That can be quite difficult getting into this battle without losing your super form, so yeah. Well, at least the little thought bubble that Knuckles gets is still really funny. Definitely one of my favorite aspects of this fight. Alright, buddy, let's dance. Alright, we're doing much better in terms of damage here. Come on, buddy. Alright, powering up again. Whoop. Kind of overshot that. Ow. Alright, let's focus on dodging these. Get your ring back, buddy. There we go. So yeah, this is quite the unique boss we got here. Pretty unique compared to everything we've faced before, especially involving the hard-boiled heavies. But yep, that takes care of the Heavy King. He retreats, unable to obtain the Master Emerald that Knuckles has safeguarded until the ending of Sonic Heroes, where the Master Emerald is completely forgotten about, and nobody really talks about it or acknowledges it after the fact. Aside from that one joke in Sonic Boom, people have been complaining that I haven't been guarding enough rare stones. But anyway, after a very interesting battle there, we move on to this area. I've already voiced my thoughts on Metallic Madness, and even in the Knuckles run, my thoughts don't really change. This area is just very annoying. There's a lot of hazards that can blindside you. Just the enemies can be really annoying to deal with. And I really don't like the music of this area too much. I don't know if I said that. I mean, it's a fine track, but compared to everything else in the game, I just really have no attachment to Metallic Madness. I mean, game does have some interesting gimmicks. Like, jumping into the background here, that's very cool, getting to show a lot of different ways to traverse these areas. A lot of them being completely optional. But yeah, when you got things like those bombs and those spinning blade things, and then those buzzsaw beetle guys, there's just tons of annoying hazards here that just really make me not like this area. Sorry all you Sonic CD fans out there, but Metallic Madness doesn't do it for me. Actually, I wonder if any Sonic CD fans like this area, even in that game. Given my thoughts on it, I wonder how many people can look at this and say, yeah, those opinions are valid, even I have a lot of issues with this area. But you know, that's just kind of a thing that'd be interesting to know. Especially when it comes to opinions from people in different parts of a fan base, because, you know, people are allowed to have their own thoughts and opinions about things. Things like, society should not be homogenized into only a thinking about one specific way. Because having a different opinions and viewpoints about things is how society evolves. But anyway, enough about all that philosophical melodrama. Going back into a very cool fight. One thing I will say about Metallic Madness, the bosses here really do it for me. Like, we got this recreation of the Sonic 1 final boss, and it's just so good. I really love the touches they do this fight to amp it up, especially compared to the original. It's a good battle. Even if the main hazard of this fight is crush damage, which I have stated before, I really don't like in this game. It's still a good battle overall. Oh, come on. If I didn't go for the glide there, that probably would have worked. Again, another issue with this, Knuckles has the low jump. Especially compared to Sonic, so it makes dealing with this a bit tricky. Alright, phase 2 of this fight. Where things get interesting and a lot more hectic. So I don't know about you, but there's been some, I don't know, how best to put this, but like usually whenever you're online and you often see people discussing or sharing things about certain things that you probably wouldn't have thought about, or just something that used to really like, just kind of forgot about, and then someone just shows you something with it, and you're just like, I remember that. I remember that being good. I've definitely been having those thoughts lately, especially with a certain artist I follow. I'm not going to name names here, because they do kind of interesting stuff, I will say that. But they have been doing some art involving some characters that I really haven't thought too much about over the years. But I can look back and say, oh, I remember them. Not that cool. Like, there's one character from, I think it was one of the Humongous Entertainment games that I remember playing as a kid. And then they also did art for a character from this old cartoon called Detention. And that I definitely enjoyed watching when I was a kid. And yeah, just getting to see these characters again and seeing that there are other people who also grew up with these characters and liked them has been pretty uplifting for me. And this gives me a chance to look at the things other people have been doing and getting to see that they experience things and that I have also experienced. And just very nice. Makes me feel good. Even if some of the content they draw can be a little risque. But again, I'm not really going to be talking about that, because this is... I mean, can I really call this a family-friendly stream, given some things... I mean, I shouldn't be too ashamed about this. I mean, I've drawn my fair share of stuff like that, especially in this year. That's kind of another thing that I've been thinking about in regards to my future plans. Do I want to do more of that kind of art? Short answer, yes. It's just fun, okay? And it should be perfectly fine with us getting to explore these aspects with our art, just experimenting in the medium, especially with content of a certain subject matter. And let me just say, I have been much better at drawing anatomy because I have been starting to draw this kind of content, so yeah, I can actually see it as a good thing because it's helping me improve as an artist. If you don't like it, that is perfectly understandable, but that's just kind of my stance on it. I feel like it's fine to a fault, just as long as you're not hurting anybody, you should be allowed to draw whatever you want to draw. This part of the level always reminds me of Tetris. It's fun because I really sunk a lot of hours into Tetris 99 on the Switch. It also reminds me, there's been a thing where you can look up how many hours you played on your Nintendo Switch and gone to see like what have been your most prolific games that you have played. And if it's not very obvious, then my results were pretty obvious to what I would expect, especially with my current interests. Like, my most played game this year was obviously Animal Crossing New Horizons. Oh, say hello to one of my fav bosses here. This is a really good fight. I really love all the callbacks to previous Eggman bosses. And even Amy, believe it or not. Yeah, I really like this boss. It's very good. But yeah, obviously, Animal Crossing New Horizons was my most played game this year. Second was Pokemon Shield, pretty obviously. Third was Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, which I still have not beaten. I've been meaning to get back to it, because, yeah, I am very close to the end of it, and I would definitely like to finish it up, finally. Number 4 is Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team DX, which, of course, I definitely sank a lot of hours into that game. Very fun. And number 5, shockingly, Pokemon Sword. I guess I have played that game a little bit more compared to others. I mean, I have done 2 full playthroughs of the game, so obviously. But with that said, we have now come to the final part of the Knuckles Sonic Mania playthrough. Titanic Monarch, the final area of the game. If you recall my previous adventure for this area, oh boy, this is going to be a treat to deal with Knuckles. Obviously, Knuckles has better mobility options than Sonic that can make getting through here a bit easier, but as you can see there, this area has a lot of hazards. It's very big, has a lot of enemies to deal with. It can be quite tricky to deal with. Hopefully things go a little bit smoother than they did in the Sonic playthrough. Hey, come on, you. In terms of other stuff been going on, what can I really say as we're going through this area? There's been some stuff that I've been meaning to get into. Namely, with me having a lot more free time in these past few weeks, I've been meaning to jump into watching some movies that I haven't watched in quite some time. Namely, I got a DVD containing the first 3 Pokemon movies that I've been meaning to rewatch for quite some time, because I do have a lot of good things to say about those movies. Like, I know for most of the time, the more recent Pokemon movies can basically be summed up as commercials for whatever the new, never-before-seen Pokemon that we are going to very rarely distribute and never actually have play a major role in one of the main games. Just to sell tickets, but, you know, the older Pokemon movies, they really didn't do that too much. I mean, the first movie did have Mew, which you couldn't normally obtain in Pokemon Red and Blue. But then you look at something like the second movie, where the main emphasis is on the legendary birds and also Lugia, which was a Pokemon that was going to be made available very soon with the very recent releases of Pokemon Gold and Silver. So I don't mind that too much, especially with the movie itself advertising a lot of other early hints about the second generation. And then you got the third movie, where a lot of the emphasis is mainly on... where really the emphasis of that movie isn't on emphasizing any new legendary Pokemon and trying to advertise them as the cool new hotness. I mean, they kind of do with Entei, but really the focus of the movie is just with one of the main characters and showing her relations and interactions with various people, whether it be her father, this Entei that gets conjured up to be her protector and as a father figure, as well as her interactions with the main cast, and I really like the movie for it. And it really does have just a very unique conflict compared to everything else in a Pokemon movie, where usually you can always expect, oh, there's going to be some big bad evil guy who wants to enslave a certain legendary Pokemon to conquer the world, where you got a legendary Pokemon who misinterprets things as being bad, and they're trying to cause something to disrupt the natural order, or for whatever reason. But no, it's just a very sweet movie about these characters interacting and struggling with some pretty interesting things, especially with regards to losing loved ones, which again is a big strength in that movie's favor. And not just the fact that the movie is gorgeous and has some of the best animation of any Pokemon movie, swear to Arceus. Now, what is with the stream replay here? Okay, it's looking fine here. That's weird. So I really should be pausing here because we're low on rings. Yeah, we got this asshole to deal with. Okay, we're out of rings. We gotta be careful here. Especially in regards to this fight, because this guy can be annoying. I mean, just look at this. Ow. Ooh. Yeah, I remember this guy giving me some trouble back in my Sonic playthrough. And for obvious reasons. Doesn't help that Knuckles already has to deal with his gimped jumps. Alright, as long as I play this safe, we should be good. Okay. Let's land. Okay, do not do that. Not a big fan of this fight, really. I mean, it has an interesting format, but just... especially with how little you get... just a lot of waiting in this fight. Like, I'm not trying to repeat a lot of the thoughts of a certain person on the internet, but... definitely like my Sonic games to be more of the fast persuasion, especially with regards to its boss fights. And this guy is slow. Wow. How'd I avoid that for so long? Alright. There we go. Took him out. And we are looking pretty good for the final area. Ooh, managed to get a ring box there, which is nice. Though really doesn't help me too much in the final area, considering that our rings get reset at the start of each act. Titanic Monarchs Act 2. This is where things are gonna get interesting, especially with Knuckles' playstyle. As you can imagine, this area is difficult. Alright, could you not do that, sir? Thank you. Alright, take that. Just like our previous playthrough with Sonic, we have to go through 4 areas in order to unlock the final boss. It's fairly interesting that this area still emphasizes the heavy knight of all things, because that's one of the only fights that Knuckles doesn't get to experience. Our battle against the Heavy King completely he overwrites the battle against the Heavy Knight. So it'll be interesting to, if we actually get the chance to see what's become of the Heavy Knight in the final battle against Eggman. Because, yeah, things are pretty standard here in terms of, well, story progression. I mean, I do wish they would go a little bit more into some unique stuff for Knuckles in the final area, but that's just kind of how things are. This area is mainly structured for Sonic, and we're just playing with a character with a completely different moveset in this area. Hello there, Dr. Derp Gamer. Welcome to, well, what's going to be very soon the ending of this Sonic Mania playthrough. Because we're just at the home stretch. Only a bit of this game remains. Alright, guess we'll take on this section then. I guess I can go super here. There's only so much of this area we can still traverse, and I would much rather be able to handle this area without dealing with a lot of the annoying enemies and hazards here. Even though, of course, we still have to deal with crush damage, especially in this part. I remember this part really being annoying for me, especially with being soup. I had to open my mouth. I'm actually kind of relieved that I'm not super right now, because just the added acceleration you get can really make the type platforming kind of a hassle in this area, especially when you have to navigate these very tight sections. It'd just be a little irritating to deal with. Not help that there's these constant hazards that are just knocking out all your rings, preventing you from getting the opportunity to even go super. Sir, please. with you, sir. Wait for you to go down so we can grab those. Shouldn't be too much farther with this area. Yeah, I can ignore that. We don't need to collect every single thing here. Hey, buddy, can you please take me to the end of this section? Yep, this is just about the end here. Only 2 more areas to go through. Hopefully they're not as bad as that section, because, yeah, getting crushed there, such a pain. And, of course, we're in an area where we can also get crushed. Yay! Don't get me wrong, I like Titanic Monarch. It has a really great aesthetic to it. The music here is very foreboding. But there's just so many goddamn hazards, and a lot of these sections require very tight movements to get through, and it can be just a little bit on the irritating side. Alright, at least we got through that section very quickly, which means there's only 1 area to go through now. The final part of our journey. Also, might as well go super here, especially since we have a final battle ahead of us. And I really don't want to lose my super form before the end. Okay, game, go up there. Come on, Nux. Don't you want to be the Echidna who beats this adventure? Almost at the end, buddy. Just gotta reach for the goal. And let me tell you, I'll be very happy once I reach the goal, because it means there'll be less of this game for me to... Where are you going, sir? Meant to say is that once we get through here, there'll be very little of this game left for us to play, and if things go well, I can expect at least 2 more sessions of playing through this game. As we go into some of the DLC content that is not normally accessible through this game, but very much worth your time, especially if you're a longtime Sonic fan. With that said, we are all set for taking on the final battle. Definitely grab those rings, we need them. Oh yeah, this phase. Hello, Dr. Eggman. It's time once more to deal with the Doctor, this time harnessing the power of the Phantom Ruby for himself. This phase is always just kind of annoying. Just wait for the shield to go down and crash into him. Also, you gotta deal with the electrified tentacles, which can be a pain to deal with if you're not invincible like me. I dealt some pretty good damage to him so far. And already moving on to the first of the hard-boiled heavy stages. Alright, so it's very simple. Just demolish the missiles, send them back at him, and you are pretty much good here. It's also good because they're able to restock on my rings there. There's definitely a nice thing about the hard-boiled heavy part of this fight. Just being able to replenish your rings when you need them. Not a big fan of are the missiles that Echidna launches. Those can be a little irritating. Right. One more hit should take out the next tentacle, but first, let's do another of these phases. This time with the Egg Shinobi. Just trying to be careful here. And just be completely not being careful there. There we go. Grab the ring. Whew, that's close. Really don't want to lose my last ring of this fight. I know I had a bit of trouble this guy in my Sonic playthrough. All because I can't hold on to my rings for squats. Oh no. Grab the ring! There we go. Okay, only 1 more phase to deal with. We should have this guy in the bag. 1 more round will do it. Come on, buddy. Bring on the Heavy Magician. It's a shame I didn't actually get to hit the Magician there. But it's alright, we got this fight in the bag. Eggman is toast. Toast. I can't believe I ended Knuckles' run on a Simpsons joke. Uh-oh, that doesn't look good. Room for one more Sonic? And things end here on a very familiar note. Yep, the ending is pretty much the same as the Sonic and Tails normal ending. Just has Knuckles doing the final pose there. That was Sonic Mania Knuckles Run. Overall, I really like this mode. Not just because I get to replay this game again, because I really love Sonic Mania and getting to play it again is a treat every single time, but getting to play it with Knuckles' unique moveset. Just he has a lot of great qualities to him that makes exploring the levels a ton of fun. As we got to see in the previous session, I was able to get at all the Chaos Emeralds really quickly just because Knuckles' moveset complements the exploration aspect of trying to get the secret rings and access all the Chaos Emeralds in a very good way. Just overall a very fun character to play as in this game. He does have his limitations. He is a bit slower than Sonic. He has the less high jump than him. But overall, just still a very fun character to play as. And I will never get tired of an opportunity to play through Sonic Mania. Definitely well worth it. But anyway, we've already discussed enough about this game, and we've already run through these credits before, so why don't we say goodbye to that? So now we clear this file, we're able to access any zone we want with Knuckles. I guess very briefly, I can kind of go into the options about other files you can do. So you go into your game options in order to specify what kind of playstyle you want your runs. You can actually change whether you want the time limit on or off. You can turn on debug mode if you want, and you can change the ability that Sonic gets for this stage. If you are in Mania mode, Sonic will be able to do the drop dash, which of course being able to just go from a jump, descend, and immediately going into a spin dash immediately. With CD, you're able to do what's called the Super Peel Out, I believe, from Sonic CD, but it's really not all that appealing to me, so I don't use it. Free and K here represents one of the abilities Sonic had in Sonic 3 and Knuckles. I believe it's called the Jump Shield. Basically, if you press the jump button while you're in the mid-air, you are able to very briefly conjure a shield, which can actually help damage enemies and stuff. Pretty helpful against bosses, but yeah, I mainly go with Mania. And in Knuckles mode, if you toggle that, it just causes a Knuckles to follow you around, kind of like Tails does when you select Sonic and Tails mode. So that's fairly interesting. Of course, you're just able to be either Sonic and Tails, just Sonic, Tails, or Knuckles, along with all those options. But that's not all for us here in Sonic Mania. Yeah, we really haven't gotten any more medallions to unlock any more things. But I guess we can go over that at a later time. Next time on Sonic Mania, we'll be jumping into Sonic Mania Plus, getting to see new characters, completely remixed areas, and just seeing what else we're able to discover in the world of Mobius. Until next time, have a good night and stay fast.